Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf, Nedarim Daf Nun. We begin with the famous story of Rabbi Akiva and the daughter of Kalba Savua. Says the Gemara on the third line from the top. Rabbi Akiva, of course, was 40 years old and was still an Amoritz, an unlearned fellow, but, as the Gemara in Ksubis tells us, he had good midas. The Gemara refers to him as Ma'ali Tzanua. Tzanua Ma'ali. He was humble and with good midas, character traits. And that's why Kalba Savoa's daughter chose him as a husband. Rabbi Akiva is Kachale Barte the Kalba Savoa. Kalba Savoa was a wealthy man, a prominent community member, and he was called Kalba Savoa because he was so generous. Whoever walked into his home, as hungry as a kelev, as a dog, would walk out Savoa, fully satisfied. Quite a wealthy man, and of course was looking for a suitable match for his daughter, somebody of prominence, somebody noteworthy. And Barte de Kalba Savoa, the daughter of this fellow Kalba Savoa, got engaged to none other than Rabbi Akiva the shepherd, a true Am Haaretz. Shama Kalba Savoa. When her father heard what she did, Adra Hano Mikol Nechase. So you made a neder. You may not, you and your future husband may not partake in any of my possessions. Mudar Hano. He was so mad he disengaged. Ozla, by the way, the Ben Yehuda explains, why did in fact she choose such a simple person as a husband? She says a wonderful, wonderful idea. The Gemara in Saita tells us that women have their zechus. Noshim b'may zachyan. How do women have a zechus of Torah, which is so vital and critical to our ultimate success in life and to Tchias HaMesim? The Gemara in Ksubas tells us that Tal Torah is what's used to be Machayim Mesim. Women are not obligated in Limud Torah, so how do they tap into this chus of Torah? And the Gemara tells us two things. Firstly, they bring their children to the Beis HaMedrash to learn, and number two, they wait for their husbands when they delay in returning home. Basically, they support their families, Limud Torah, their husband and their children. And that gives them a cheluk in Limud Torah. Says the Ben Yehuda, if an Isha is zoichet to Torah by supporting, by encouraging her husband's Limud Torah, figure the daughter of Kalba Savoa, what greater an opportunity to be zoichet to Schus HaTorah than to take somebody so lowly, so unlearned, somebody who is the exact opposite of a Talmud Chacham, a total bore, and turn him into a Talmud Chacham and encourage him and motivate him to go to yeshiva and turn out to be a big Talmud Chacham. What greater opportunity, what greater schus than that? So she chose the most simple of people, Rabbi Akiva, with the intent of sending him to yeshiva, of motivating him, of inspiring him to learn Torah. And in fact, she was mightily successful. So father at this point was quite disappointed. He made a neder. You can't have any of my nechasim. She was unfazed. Azla vitnesiva lebesitva. She went and she actually married him, and it was winter time, cold and rainy. Havagonu beitivna, so they were lying in this Beis HaTev, and they couldn't afford a better, apartment, a place full of hay. That's where they stayed, and the hay got entangled with their hair. Havaka manket leitivna min mazyeh, so she was picking the tevin out of the hay out of his hair, or maybe he was doing it for her. In any case, it was a pretty crude situation there with tevin all around. Amar la, Rabbi Akiva felt bad. He said, apologetically, it's not like I don't want to provide for you. Ihavoili, if I would have the ability to purchase for you a gift, Ramina lech Yerushalayim d'Ahava, I would in fact buy for you a golden Yerushalayim. So it's a special ornament known as Yerushalayim Shel Zav. And actually, the Iran brings that in Gemara Shabbos Naftan Tes we find that Rabbi Akiva didn't just stay with a promise; he actually cashed in on the promise, and he bought her the Yerushalayim shel Zahav. Okay, so in this state they continued living, and they needed chizuk. So what did Hashem do? Asa Eliyahu. So Eliyahu Navi shows up one day, Idmi lahain kenash, appearing like an ordinary man. V'kakari abava, and he's calling to them from the door. He's knocking on the door. Hello, hello. Amar lahu, and he asks them like this: wow, you're wealthy. You even have hay, something I don't have. Havali purta de tivna, please could I have some hay? The eldest itzi, my wife just gave birth, but lastly midam lagun, I have nothing to. I have no hay for her, to lie on. Amar la Rakiva, so Rakiva turns to his wife. Wow, we're lucky, we're wealthy. Amar la Rakiva into Chazi, take a look at this man, this Gavra, that filo tivna loy isla, he doesn't even have some hay, and that gave them a chizuk. And the Ran says the whole point was K'dei lenachim oisam, 6 lines from the top. K'dei lenachim oisam laharis lahem sheish anim mesim, to show this couple that they're not in the most desperate of situations. There are people that are more desperate than them. And that gave them consolation. You know the famous story. This fellow felt cramped with his family, in a smaller boat. So he went to the tzaddik who says, "Look, fill it up with goats." He brought in goats, and that really got cramped. A week later, he says, "Get rid of the goats." So the fellow gets rid of the goats, and then he's like, "Wow, this is amazing. We have so much space. It's so roomy." It's all a matter of perspective. So the fact that this fellow was even more desperate than them gave them a nechama. They felt fortunate that they had hay, at least that much. Amrle, so Rabbi Akiva's wife now tells him, look, we made a deal. The Gemara Suva says that they engaged, that they married, on condition that in fact he'll go to the yeshiva to be a Talmud Chacham. So she says, okay. She says it's time to keep the deal. Amrle, zil havi beirav, go to the yeshiva, go learn. So he listened. Azal hava tartes reishnin kamei to Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua. So he spent 12 full years learning by Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua. Lemishlam tartes reishnin. After 12 years were up. Okay, time to go home. Ka'asa lebesi. He's coming back and approaching his house. And before he gets to the house, he overhears a conversation. Shama menachayri besi. He hears from behind his house. The ka'amar lo chad rasha. A certain evil person is addressing his wife, Rabbi Akiva's wife, Ledvisu. He tells her like this: Shaper, avad lechavuch. It's coming to you. Your father disengaged you. He disenfranchised you from his properties. You know what? He was 100% right for 2 reasons. Chada, number 1. What kind of business do you have getting married to this fellow who's totally a mismatch to you? To you, coming from a prominent, wealthy family, what are you doing getting involved in this simple shepherd? So it's coming to you. Void number 2, where is he? Shavkech armulus, he abandoned you like a widow, chayis, a living widow, like an aguna. Kula and shnin, all these years. So this fellow was bad-mouthing her husband, making her feel bad about her decisions, about her choices in life. He had no right to do that. Amrlei, so she stuck to her guns. She was full of confidence and proud of her decisions. Amrlei, she tells him, if Rabbi Akiva would have listened to me, if he listened to my advice, I would even advise him, lehavi tarte srei shnin achronais. I wish he would stay in the yeshiva for another 12 years. Now Rabbi Akiva was overhearing this conversation. Omar, he figures, okay, here's my opportunity. I don't even have to step into the house. So once I have permission to go back, I'll go back to the yeshiva. Hadar, he went back to the yeshiva. Ozal hava tarti srei shnei achronais. He spent another 12 years. Famous kasha, everybody asks. He couldn't just step in and say hello for a minute. Okay, he's going to go back, but after all this effort, he traveled all the way home. Just stop in and say hello, says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, the mashgiach of Mir Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, that's all. He says, you know why he didn't? Because 12 plus 12 does not equal 24. 24 continuous years, uninterrupted, continuous learning experiences, unparalleled. You can't take 12 and add another 12. Once you make that interruption, you're not going to have that same compounded effect. And that's why he exhibited this unbelievable, utmost self-discipline and just turned around on his heels and went back to the yeshiva. Look what happened to him. After another 12 years were up, Asa be'esren v'abar alfen. Zugi Talmid. This came back home with 24,000 Talmidim. Some take out the word Zugi. It was 12,000 peers, 24,000 total. Okay, everybody hears the big tzaddik is coming. Nafikuli alma lapei. Everybody comes out to greet him. Va'af hi kamas lemepek lapei, and she as well came out to greet him. Amar lahu rishia. So she had this evil neighbor who turns to her and chides her and says, "Where are you going with these begadim? Va'at lahecha, where are you going? You're not dressed properly for the tzaddik." Amar leh, so she tells him, he'll appreciate me the way I am. Yedei tzaddik. A tzaddik is aware and appreciates nefesh behemte, the nefesh of his behema, meaning Rabbi Akiva knows full and well. The reason why I have such a shabby appearance is because I was Moisei Nefesh and sent him up to yeshiva. This is the best way to go greet him. Asa, so she came to appear to him. Rabbanan, the Gabayim were pushing her away. They didn't recognize her. And there's some lady coming to him. Get away. Amr Lahain, so she tells the Talmidim, what's going on? Hanichula. Let her approach. You know who she is. Everything that I and you have belong to her. Shali, my Torah, Vishalachem, and your Torah, Shalahu, are all due to her credit. Shama Kabasavua. So when the Shever Kabasavua heard that a tzaddik was coming, Asa v'ichal nidrei, so he came and approached him. Some say he recognized him, some say he didn't even know who he was. But he felt bad and he went to undo his neder, v'ishtari, and they undid the neder, and going forward they were living in peace with each other. This time he was proud about his daughter's decision. Says the Gemara, although Rabbi Akiva did not take anything from his Talmidim for teaching them Torah, but ultimately Hashem accorded him great riches. In fact, there was 6 minshis mili from the following 6 sources. Rabbi Akiva got wealthy. Min Kalba Savua, his father-in-law, who gave him, who shared his wealth with him. Min Ilo de Sfinta, there was this ram-shaped wooden type of configuration they would keep on the ships for a good omen, for a good sign, to indicate that the ship should travel as quick as a ram. So this Ilo de Sfinta ended up in Akiva's hands and contained riches. The Chol Sfinta Avden Le Min Eina, because this was a standard thing for the ships. They would make one of these Chad Min Eina, one of these ram-shaped sculptures, and Zimna Chada an Sheyua Al Keifiyama. So one time, it so happens that the specific ship crew left their wooden sculpture filled with gold coins on the edge of at the port. Also, Ashkechei and Rakiva came along and found it, discovered it with the treasures within. So that was the second source of income. Gavza is a treasure box. That's something that Rakiva got a hold of, and also got him contributed to his wealth. Zimna Chada. Because it so happens that one time, Yoiv Arbo Zuzei Lisapunoid. Rakiva took 4 coins and gave it to the sailors. He says, you're traveling, take some money. I want to make an investment with you. Go buy me something interesting. Amr Lahu, he tells them, Aisili midam, go get me something, some sort of investment. And they couldn't, come up with anything worthy of purchasing, except Alagavza al Kefiyama. They found this chest at the edge of the sea. They figured, okay, better than nothing, not knowing that there was anything in it. Asyu alei, so they brought it to him. Amr alei, and they told him, Avid Marana alei. Marana means our master. Please wait for us, until we'll find you something more worthwhile. And anyways, they disappeared, and he opened up the chest. Ishtakach davim moli dinri, discovers that it's full of coins. How did it get full of coins? The Zimna Chada. Because one time Tavas Sfinta, a certain ship, capsized. The Kuli Iska have a machis, Gavs, and all the money and the investment was sitting in that treasure. Yishtaka Zimna, and that explains why Rabbi Akiva found a chest full of treasures. That was a chest lost at sea. The min this Rukita, which actually had belonged to a group of Ishmaelim merchants. Okay, Umim Matronisa. Another source of income was the Matronisa. Who was the Matronisa? So perhaps let's go through the run inside that describes the story in great detail. So it's about 15 lines from the bottom. Umim Matronisa. Pam achas hutruchu Rabbi Akiva v'talmidav mois. It so happens that one time Rabbi Akiva and his talmidim were desperate for some funds. V'holchu etza matronisa, and they took a loan at this noble woman. Amar lo Rabbi Akiva, she tells Rabbi Akiva, look, I'm lending you the money. Hareini malava ischa. I'm malva you the money. Ata loiva, you're going to be the borrower, and Hashem. Hashem on the sea are going to be guarantors to guarantee the repayment of the loan. Okay, deal's a deal. They set a time for repayment, and Rabbi Akiva got sick and he couldn't come and pay the money. When the time for repayment arrives, so the woman goes to the edge of the sea. She turns to Hashem. Look, we made a deal. You're the guarantor. It is known and revealed to you. Rabbi Akiva is unwell today. And he didn't have the ability to obtain funds to repay me today. Okay, so I'm letting him off the hook, but you, Hashem, are backing him up. Look, Hashem, you're the Arev. Okay, Hashem responded. Immediately, the daughter of the Kessler, of the ruler, became deranged. Look what she did. She takes a chest full of precious stones, dinar rezav and golden coins. She tosses it for no good reason into the sea. The Yam takes it and throws it about, and it transports it to the area where she's standing. And delivers it right to the place where the Matronisa is standing. So she sees this unexpected treasure chest, and she realizes it's a heaven-sent gift, a response from Hashem, a repayment for Rabbi Akiva's loan. She took the chest and went back home happily. Loan repaid. Eventually Rabbi Akiva gets better again. And he's holding his money to pay back to Matronisa. She tells him, it's all paid up. I went to the guarantor and he paid me back. We're done. In fact, he gave me too much. Here's the change. Take back the extra. Plus the money that you brought me. And that made Rabbi Akiva wealthy. Okay, let's turn the page. Another source of income was the wife of Turnus Rufus. Let's take a look at the Ran again, on the top line. So Turnus Rufus was a fellow who would constantly engage Rabbi Akiva in debate in front of the Kessler. Rabbi Akiva would always gain the upper hand when they would have these debates based on the psukim and things like that. So it so happens he comes home. This Sar comes home all down and upset. His wife asks him, "What's the bad mood about?" He tells her, "I'll tell you. I just lost another debate, another one with Rabbi Akiva. She says, I'm going to hit on a good solution to get him in trouble, to undo Rabbi Akiva. I know that their God dislikes immorality. Allow me to entice him to do something wrong with me. He allowed it. And she went there and enticed him. Rabbi Akiva, noticing this well-dressed woman approach him, rak, sachak, ubach. He does three things. He spits, he laughs, and cries. Amr Loi, so she asks him in wonderment, what's going on with the laughing and the crying? Ma inun hachtlas milan. What are these three reactions all about? Amr Loi, Rabbi Akiva responds, Shnaim afarish, shlishi lo afarish. I can explain 2 out of 3. Rokakti, the reason for spitting, al shabas mitipas rucha, because you originated in something very unworthy. A tipas rucha, the zera, that's where you come from. It's really worthless. So it was an expression of worthlessness. Bachisi, then I cried, al hayshufra, the balibara, this beauty that's going to just disintegrate when it's buried in the ground. Vu sachak, so that he explained. But the third thing, why he laughed, that he didn't explain to her. The reason for laughing was because through Ruach HaKodesh he anticipated marrying her eventually. Shatidl is Gair, he knew she was going to become a ger, and eventually she was destined for him. But didn't want to tell her at this earlier moment. So she turned to him, Klumi is tshuva. She was very taken and inspired by his sincerity. She says, you know what, I did so many things wrong in my life, can I do teshuvah? He says, sure. At that moment she decided to commit to gerus, and eventually she married Rabbi Akiva. And she was very wealthy, and she brought her wealth with her. And she brought all that wealth into his family, and that's what the Gemara means, that Rufus, his wife, brought him wealth. Continues the Gemara. Number 6 is Umin Ketia Bar Shalom. So the Ran says this is a Gemara in Avodah. So briefly, there was a story there with a Kesar who disliked the Yidden and took advice from his advisors in terms of how to get rid of them. So he asks them, if somebody has some sort of wart, what do you do? Do you just let the wart stay on your foot, or do you get rid of the, amputate? So they told him, amputate, get rid of the Jews. But there was a fellow by the name of Ketir Bar Shalom, one of his ministers, and says, look, number one, you can't do that. It's not feasible. The pasuk says that Klal Yisrael, compared to Ruchais Hashemayim, they're part and parcel of the world arrangement. You can't have a world without Jews. You're going to get rid of them. You're going to destroy the world. Number two, it's not good for your reputation. They're going to say, this kingdom has been trimmed and chopped up. So he says, don't tinker with the Jews. So the king says, you know what, you're 100% right, but there's a rule. Whoever prevails over the king in debate gets killed. That was one of their Roman rules, and they were taking him to kill him. And somebody told him, it's a pity, you're going to get killed anyway. You may as well make the best of it. Become a Yid. That's why you'll die Jewish. So in fact, he did a quick milah. And on the way to the thing, he announced he's giving away all his assets and properties and estate to Rabbi Akiva and his friends. So that was another source of Rabbi Akiva's income. So from rags to riches. Says the Gemara of Gamda, Yoiv Dalid Zuzi Lesupunoi. So we're going to have another story with sailors and investments. Rabbi Gamda gave it a couple of coins to the sailors as an investment. Please go do something with it. Buy me something good. They couldn't find something worthwhile. So at the least they decided, okay, we're going to use the money, and they bought a monkey, a koifa. Ishtamit al l'chayrasa. So the monkey scampered away and ran into some sort of underground little hole, a little tunnel. Chafra basrei, so the sailors went looking for him. They dug after him. Ashkachu, and they discovered that the monkey is sitting on none other than a treasure, a find. The Ravia Magrulai, so he's sitting on Magrolias, on pearls and diamonds. I sinun le'lekulai. So they decided, it's appropriate that we bring it to Rab Gamda. He's the cause of all this. It's meant for him. This was like a midas chasidus lefnim shir sadin. I decided that it all belongs to Rav Gamda, the owner of the monkey. Amrle bas Kessler Rabbi Yehuda Kessler. Here comes another story with the daughter of the Roman leader addressing Rabbi Yehuda Kessler. who wasn't really so handsome looking, but he was a great tzaddik, great Talmud Chacham. And she says to him, teasing him, she says, Torah mefur ara. Does it make sense that this beautiful Torah is sitting in an unhandsome vessel, b'chli mechoyer, such as you? So he did not get insulted. He remained unfazed, and he responds to her like this. There's a reason for it. The reason why Hashem arranged it in this fashion. Amarla, limdim beis avuch. Go take a lesson from what goes on in your father's, palace. Here's a question. B'meh manichin yain. How do they store their wine? Amarla, she says, b'mani, put the pachra in earthenware vessels. Amarla, he says, earthenware vessels? Those are ugly vessels. Kuli alma pachra. That's what the general population does. They use klei cheres. They can't afford better. Va'atun b'mani, the pachra, and you in the palace do the same? Ugly vessels? Atun achisun b'mani de kaspa d'hava. You should put your wine in silver and gold vessels, as appropriate for the royal palace. So she took him seriously. Azlas v'ramas chamra. She put the wine b'mani de kaspa d'hava. She spilled it into the silver and golden vessels. And what happens to the wine? Vesari, and it's spoiled. Oh. So now he says, now you understand. That was the point I was trying to show you. Amrullah, af oiraisa kain, just like wine, must be maintained in ugly kalim. If they're too fancy, it gets in the way of the wine. Here as well, Torah cannot tolerate haughtiness and ga'ava. And the more lowly the vessel, the more unhandsome the person, the more he can acquire and internalize the Torah. So she asks him, but it's not always so. We have nice-looking people who are also learned. Amallah, he tells her, well, it could be, but Ihabu's son, if they were not so good-looking, they would have been a greater, more learned, and higher Talmidei Chachamim. There's a pshat and tesis and ksubas. Yavasanu means to say if they would dislike, they would disregard, they wouldn't be involved in their niceness, then they would be zeicha to a greater level of Torah. There was an isha who approaches Rabbi Yehuda from Narda to do a din Torah. And it turns out that she lost the court case. She became chayav. So she turns to Rabbi Yehuda in a very disrespectful manner. Shmuel Rabbach, hachidanan. You think your Rabbi Shmuel would have ruled the same way? Amrullah, so she asks her, you're just being nice to her. Yadasle, you're from what Shmuel? So she says yes, and she responds very harshly. Amrullah, she says, Gutza, he's short, Rabbi crazy, a large belly, Ukam, he's has a blackened face, Rabbi Shine with large teeth. Amrullah, he tells her, you're trying to degrade him? It's not respectful. You should be in a cherem. I'm putting you in a cherem paka. She burst, and she died. Okay, back to the Mishnah. So a person makes a neder from tavashil. It only includes things which are eaten along with bread, but not. It's not including the beitza termita. Mutar beitza termita. This sort of egg is mutar. My beitza termita. What exactly is this? I'm a shmuel. It takes a lot of knowledge and expertise to produce this shrunken egg. Avda, if you have a slave, a servant, who's also a chef, the avadla, who knows how to produce this beitzas termita, wow, he's worth a lot. Shavi alpha dinner, he's worth 1,000 dinar. So what's the recipe? The ma'ayil la alpha zimni b'may chamimi. You take an egg, and you immerse it 1,000 times into hot water. V'alpha zimni b'may kriri, and 1,000 times into cold water. Adamit zutra, until it shrinks and shrivels. So that it can be just swallowed like a pill. What's the purpose? What's the point of this little egg? If one has something, some disorder, some internal disorder, sarachala, so he swallows this pill, which allows the disorder to cling on it, so he gets a sample, like a biopsy. When this pill leaves the person intact, and it brings along the sort of the sample of the sickness. When it comes out, Yada Asya, the doctor examining the pill, can figure out my samamit bi lay, which medicine is required for this situation, for this person, my mitzi, and what's the process for remedying this person. Shmuel was an expert doctor, and he would examine himself a bit differently. He would take a kulcha, some sort of stalk of some vegetable, and run it through a system. And he was so in agony when he did it. Adamisterin, inshi besa, alay sa'arein, until the women in his family would just undo their hairdo, their braids, in agony, watching him do this. It's not awesome. We have a mission. There's a halacha that when a fellow is doing work for a landowner, he's allowed to snack off the produce, provided it's the item that he's working on. So if he's working in a certain area which grows where the klufsin, a certain type of certain variety of figs are growing, he can eat from the klufsin, but he can't take the other figs. Likewise, bivnei sheva, if he's working with the bnei sheva, he can't partake in the klufsin variety. You got to stick to your type. My klufsin, why are they called klufsin? What are these things? Mina de te'eni de avdin minhoin lapti. It's a certain high quality fig from which they make a certain high quality dish, a lafti, a certain type of lafti dish. How gavra, there was this fellow Diyav Avdul Chavri. He had an evet, and he loaned the evet to his friend Lagmuri Alfa Mini Lapti to teach him how to make 1,000 different types of this lapti dish. Apparently it came in 1,000 different varieties. Agmuri Tamni Meya, so the evet got to teach him 800 recipes of lapti. Azmini Ladina L'kamei the Rebbe, but he failed to teach him the other 200. So the fellow who did this contract was upset about the 200 missing recipes. He took the fellow to Dintera, to Rabbi Amar Rebbe. His Rebbe was so impressed by the fact that they have so many different varieties, so many different recipes, different ways of preparing these figs. He said, "Avasenu amru nashinu toiva." Our parents who lived during the time of the Churban Hamidrash, they said we forgot nashinu toiva. We forgot, all the toivas, all the recipes, all the good things we can do with food. So when the Beis Hamidrash was destroyed, it affected everything on all levels. Anu, we that live past that period, afilu beineinu l'reinu, we never even knew, we never saw, we never were aware of the fact that you can do so many different things and create so many different recipes, so many different ways of preparing food. And they were so surprised at the fact that they have so many different ways of preparing. How do you know all this? Rabbi Avad le Hilula le Reb Shimon Brei. Reb Shimon was Rebbe's son, and Rebbe was about to marry him off. So he made a wedding for his son Reb Shimon. And there was one problem. Bar Kapar used to try to get Rebbe smiling. We're going to see the next Gemara. Rebbe would keep a sort of a psalm, was like in a constant sad state for the Churban of Beis Hamikdash. But Kapara had this sort of this agenda to try to get Rebbe, smiling and happy at times. Rebbe being afraid about Kapara's presence at the wedding, lest he, get him in too giddy of a mood, so he locked him out of the wedding. But Kapara not being too happy about that, Kosav al Beis Genonas, he put a message on the actual wall on the wedding hall. Esrem varbo alfen riboin dinner. Look how much he's expending on the wedding. 24,000 times 10,000 dinar, huge amount. Huge wedding. Nafku al Beis Genona then was spent or invested on this wedding. And he couldn't bother inviting me bakapar to the wedding. Amar lei, and he announced in exasperation, Im lo ivrei ritzoynei kach. If this is what Hashem endows his transgressors, meaning Rebbe, who locks me out of his wedding. Look, still Hashem gives him so much blessing, so much abundance. Certainly those who follow Hashem's will and keep the mitzvahs and are good, certainly Hashem gives them much bracha. Okay, Rebbe, realizing that Bar Kapara wasn't very happy about being locked out. He acquiesced, he invited him to the wedding. Omar, now Rakabara turned his equation around, and he said, Hashem bequeaths his Oisir Ritzonah, those who follow his Ratzon, those who fulfill his wish. He gives them so much, even in this world, which is not really the place for getting schar. They get so much bracha. Look what's going on at the wedding. Certainly, you can imagine how much more they'll have in Olam Haba, which is the true time and place for Hashem giving us our reward, our deserving reward for keeping His Torah and mitzvahs. Amen. So, what did we learn today? We have the story of Rabbi Akiva, the Mesiras Nefesh of his wife, sent him off to yeshiva. After 40 years of being a total Amoritz, he came back 24 years later. He was 64 years old. It's never too late to start. 64 years old, and he was the biggest tzaddik, 24,000 Talmidim. He appreciated his wife's effort. He didn't forget. He said, Shali v'shalachem shalah. And the Gemara tells us that eventually he went from rags to riches. Hashem sent him lots of bracha. And the Gemara ends with a fitting conclusion. If we get that in Ilm Hazeh, certainly Hashem is Neman, Baal Malachtecha, Sheishalmecha, Schar Pulosecha, as the Gemara as Mishnah in Pirkei Avos tells us, Hashem is to be trusted, that He will indeed give us our deserving reward when the time comes. Hatzlacha Rabbim Mesiras Tevis.